12 tribes. So see what God said.
The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold.
What the African and the Arab did to us.
Have you sold?
Listen again. What the African and the Arab did to us.
Have you sold?
So who saw us? The Africans saw us to the Arabs, and the Arabs, what the Arabs did
unto the Greeks,
and the Arabs saw us to the white people.
Book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 11.
Read it.
Saying, I'm Alpha and Omega. Jesus Christ talking. Read it. The first and the last. Oh, Muhammad should be the last. The first and the last. Muhammad is the last prophet. The first and the last. Isa, Jesus says he's the last prophet.
Right.
So where Muhammad come from, brother? So that Muhammad is the first prophet, brother. Because Jesus said for the Bible, when Jesus says he's the last prophet. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold.
What the African and the Arab did to us.
Have you sold?
Listen again. What the African and the Arab did to us.
Have you sold?
So who saw us? The Africans saw us to the Arabs, and the Arabs, what the Arabs did
unto the Greeks,
and the Arabs saw us to the white people. So the Africans saw us to who? To the Arabs, and the Arabs saw us to whom? To whom? To what? To the white people. That is what this is in the Bible. This is in the Bible. Hold this. This is in the Bible. It's called the sub-Saharan slave trade. The sub-Saharan slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade. So I tell you for real, black people, Islam is not our religion. Do you know what God gave us? Nehemiah chapter 9 verse 13. Let me show you what God gave us. Any questions? Any question? Any question? Yes, sir. Let me hear from her first.
I hear you say that Jesus are black men. And all over the world we celebrate Christmas. Is Jesus born on Christmas Day, December 25th?
Good question, Mama. Now, the other question is Jesus Christ born on Christmas Day or December 25th? The answer is capital N, capital B-O, which is no. Jesus Christ was never born on December 25th. Every time we celebrate December 25th, we are celebrating the man called Tammuz. Every time we celebrate that birthday on December 25th, it is not Jesus' birthday. It is a man called Tammuz. A man that died and his spirit entered the tree. On December 25th, what can you buy? December 25th, what can you buy? You buy tree. A man called Tammuz in died, or Nero or Tammuz in died, and his spirit entered the tree. That is the reason why every December 25th, black people, it is a must. You must buy a tree and put it in your house. You know what you're doing? You are taking the spirit of Tammuz and place it in your place. Mama, let me ask you, when your son's birthday reach, you can buy a tree for your son? So why is it Jesus' birthday will reach, you buy a tree? What tree has to do with Jesus Christ's birthday? What tree has to do with the birthday of Jesus Christ? But let me show you when Jesus Christ was born. Let me show you. Everything we say, we go where? To the Bible. You know what I want? Deuteronomy. Let me Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 16. So I'm going to show you when Jesus Christ was born. A lot of people believe Jesus Christ was born during the spring. No, he was born during the winter. You understand that? Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1. Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover.
Take your time, read that again, Mama, because I'm older woman. So let's take our time so she can understand. Read that again.
Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1. Observe the month.
Yeah, what?
The month.
Mama, the month. We get in the world right now, we get January, February, March, right? But God said to the children of Israel, we should observe the month of what? Of Abib. So in the Bible, there's no month called January, no month called February, no month all the way to December, nothing like that. The first month in the Bible is called the month of Abib. So God said we should observe, meaning remember, continue doing this in this month called Abib. What is that thing we must do?
And keep the Passover.
So God said every month I said, I bet. Every month, I said, I bet, brother. In the month, I bet we should keep the what? We should keep the what? The Passover. We should keep what? The Passover. So the Passover fall in 1 month. In the month of what? I bet. So the Passover is in 1 month. In 1 month, I bet. 1 month the Passover fall. I bet. I want to need to be in your mind. Yeah, we don't know what is Abib, right? So the Passover falls in the month of Abib. Let Abib be in your mind. Give me Luke. Let Abib be in your mind. Watch. The book of Luke, chapter 4. Luke 2. Luke chapter 2 and verse 41. Yeah. Verse 40. And the child grew and was good. So mama, hello mama. The child is Jesus Christ. Read that again. And the child grew. That child is Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ grew and was strong. And he was strong. He had wisdom in the Bible. You know? In spirit, filled with wisdom. You know? And the grace of God was upon him. You know? Now, his parents went to Jerusalem every year. So Jesus Christ's parents, every year, his parents takes him where? To Jerusalem. So every year, Jesus Christ's parents can take him to where? Jerusalem. Like when I was coming up, I can remember my mom, every year she used to carry me to the cinema. I'm telling you, when I was coming up, my mom, every year she used to carry me to the cinema. So that's the same thing to Jesus Christ. Every year, Jesus Christ's parents were taking where? Jerusalem. They were taking Jerusalem to do what? At the feast of the Passover. So Jesus Christ's parents were taking where? At the feast of the Passover. So a parent taking to Jerusalem to do certain things because there is a feast that is supposed to be celebrated in Jerusalem, and that feast is called Passover. So it's called the Feast of Passover. Which month is Passover for? Don't forget, we read Deuteronomy. Which month? Say that again. Abib. So the Passover falls in the month of what? Abib. That is the reason why every year Jesus Christ must go and celebrate the feast. You know? And when? Listen again, mama. Hey, sister, I want you to listen. Read that part again. And when? What it means by when? What am I telling? What am I asking for? Time. At the time, and when he was 12 years old. So when Jesus Christ began the age of 12 years old, when Jesus Christ began the age of 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. So when Jesus Christ was 12 years old, his parents took him to Jerusalem to celebrate the feast of Passover. So what time Jesus Christ was 12 years doing the feast of what? Passover. So in 1 month is the Passover. Abib, right? Now let's see. Watch. Because right now none of us know what is Abib, right? Let's see what month is Abib.
This is the Sullivan Compact Bible Dictionary. Abib, an ear of corn.
What Abib mean ear of corn meaning the time corn can grow. Mama, let me ask you, what time corn can grow? Which month in our time corn can grow? January? Say that again? Give me that. So January, I could say April, but now we'll see if April is there. So they say Abib mean the time corn can what? Corn can grow. What?
The pre-exactly name for the first month of the year.
Abib is the what kind of month?
The first month of the year.
January is not the first month of the year. The first month of the year, according to the Bible, is Abib. So Abib is the first month. But how can we know which month is Abib during our time? Right? During our time, we want to know which month is Abib. You know?
After the exile, the name was changed to Nisan.
The 8th is Abib. So right now, Abib falls
about the time of our March.
Abib, to know the month of Abib, it falls between our time of what? March, in our month of March,
and early April.
So what time Jesus Christ was born? What time Jesus Christ was born? March to what? March to April. Christ was born during March to April.
So, yeah. You see, I put there, I put love lies. How many times do you amen, nothing change? But let me answer, ask a question. Ask a question. Yeah, your hands are all right. Your hands are all to ask question, right? So what your question, my friend? Yeah, go ahead.
want to know how they Muslim religion or what Prophet Muhammad
how Muslim came to me to Prophet Muhammad? We are not Muslim. But I'm not reading history. I'm Muslim came in. We're gonna give you history, bro, right? Bro, you listening now? Bro, I'm telling you, I'm not Muslim. We brought the Bible to teach our people. But there's a history book. What's it? History book tell you how Islam came to be. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Are you with me? I want you to be with me. I get loud. I'm not Muslim. I'm a Jew. I keep the commandment. I'm not Muslim. Yeah. Yeah, it's fake, but you know why? It's not in the Bible. God not to be Muslim. It's not in the Bible. Do you know the Bible is an audio book? The Bible came before the Quran, right? So if Muhammad is going to be a prophet of God, who are going to tell you? Is that the Bible? If Muhammad should be a prophet to come, which book going to say so? Is that the Bible? The Bible is an audio book. Show me, brother. Show me, brother. If the Bible talk about Muhammad, I'll follow you to go to the mosque. Alright, so I'm telling you, Islam came outside of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Islam came outside the Bible. The Bible have nothing to do with Islam. The Bible have nothing to do with Islam. I'm telling you, nothing in the Bible talk about Muhammad. Muhammad cannot be a prophet according to the Bible. Let me show you history, brother. Go ahead.
This is a Liberia social study book.
Liberia social study book now, read.
Islam, the founding of Islam.
Founding of Islam?
Muhammad was born in Arabia, AD 570 to 632.
This history book, Muhammad came to be after the death of Jesus Christ. AD means after the death of Jesus Christ. After Jesus died, he prophesied that many false prophets will come. Muhammad was a false prophet. He came after Jesus Christ.
He claimed to be the last and greatest of the prophets.
You see what Bible? The history book said Muhammad claimed. Why is the proof that Muhammad is a prophet? Show me the book. That self-proclamation of Muhammad says he's a prophet. But I read the Bible, Muhammad is not there. You know what I'm saying? So Muhammad claimed to be a prophet of God. So what proof that Muhammad is a prophet of God? Show me the proof. But this history book, let me read a book. Liberia social study book. You know me? Read that again.
Yes, sir. He claimed to be the last and greatest prophet of the gods Allah.
So brother said, alright brother, show me from the Bible now.
I can't tell you about the Bible, but I can tell you about the Prophet Muhammad and Prophet.
In the Quran, right?
Yes,
alright. Jesus Christ, right? The Quran, listen, Jesus Christ, right? He's showing all over the world as a prophet. In the Quran, in the Bible, everything that means to be a prophet. So Muhammad said he's the last prophet, right? Get Revelation. Let me show you what Jesus said. Because Muhammad claimed that he's the last prophet. Show me what Jesus said. First and last, what I'm reading. The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 11.
Read it up.
Saying, I'm Alpha and Omega. Jesus Christ talking. Read it. The first and the last. Oh, Muhammad should be the last. The first and the last. Muhammad is the last prophet. The first and the last. Isa, Jesus says he's the last prophet. Right. So where Muhammad come from, brother? So that Muhammad is the first prophet, brother.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.